Top of the hour, I'm John Berman with Kate Baldwin and Sarah Seidner. The breaking news right now, in the middle of a war, we just learned that Israel has formed what they're calling an emergency government in a war cabinet. This is significant. It is according to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who made the announcement just moments ago. All of this as hundreds of thousands of Israeli reservists are staged outside Gaza. Let's get right to CNN's Becky Anderson, who is in Tel Aviv, who can explain this shift with inside the government, Becky, and what it means. Becky.
Well, this is really important. What we understand is that these discussions have now been going on for some days. And I have to say, there was some speculation we might actually get this news yesterday. But clearly these negotiations on who is in this, unity government, and particularly in what will be this war cabinet, have been very, very difficult. But as we understand it now, this is Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, in unity now, in a coalition government, in a war cabinet with Benny Gantz, who is the leader of the National Unity Party, an opposition leader, former defense minister, of course, and the defense minister Gallant. They will sit in this war cabinet. This is an emergency situation which is being addressed now by those who have experience of war in government here. What isn't clear is what the makeup of this kind of wider group will be, and sources have been telling me that there has been much discussion and demands made by those in opposition that the right-wing ministers, the finance and national security ministers, Ben-Gvir and Smotrich, would not be part of this. I can't stand that up at present. All we know and we can report at this time is that Benjamin Netanyahu now in unity with Benny Gantz and the defense minister here, Gallant, to address what happens next. And the sense is here that what you didn't have in the cabinet, in the government until Saturday morning was experience. And what Israel now needs is experience and characters, authoritative characters in position who reflect the unity of the Israelis. So this, as I'm being told now, I'm just getting new reporting on this. This is an emergency cabinet, a war cabinet at this point.
And Becky, for those who, aren't familiar maybe with, I'll call them the players within Israeli politics so much, just some background here of what a big deal this is as you describe it, because these are political parties and these are men who are, before now, deeply hostile to one another in terms of the politics of Israel. And it really does underline the scale of the crisis, how much has changed in Israel since Saturday. Just the background, if you can offer, of kind of earth-shattering is what Saturday was with the Hamas terror attack, and this as a response to it. Just the perspective on that.
Yeah, well, I think if we just step back and consider what is been going on here for months and months, has been this deep, deep division reflected on the streets of Tel Aviv and around this country by, hundreds of thousands of Israelis demonstrating, protesting against what has been Israel's most right-wing government ever. This sense now that there is an absolute need to bring those who are running this country together, in a war cabinet that can now address the security concerns that Israel now faces with experience. There has been, much talk around the judicial reform of how Benjamin Netanyahu and his right wing have not been focused on what Israelis themselves believe is important for them. And on Saturday morning, that was revealed. Security and protection. Why was there such a failure of intelligence? Why is it now that Israelis feel such a sense of insecurity, of vulnerability. And it was to the Prime Minister to organise around him, to ensure now that the fingers of blame aren't pointed at him squarely on what happens going forward. And now, the crucial nature of what is in play here, the complexity of what happens next with regard any incursion, ground incursion into Gaza. The sense now that the decisions that are made here in Israel about what happens in the days and weeks ahead should not be left to a government that, frankly, didn't have the experience in cabinet to address these issues. So that now looks like, the makeup that we have in what is this new war cabinet, I can describe it as such, with the current defence minister, the former defence minister, Benny Gantz, and Benjamin Netanyahu heading up the decision-making for the state of Israel to address, as I say, the complexities of what happens next. And let's just consider those. They have a ground incursion on the table. They have, as described by the IDF, saturated the southern border with troops now, in anticipation, one assumes, of a ground incursion. We're not seeing that as of yet. But the complexities we've been reporting now for hours, in that you have these hostages being held in various locations, as described by Hamas, around Gaza. And then the wider story here, which is the plight of the Palestinians. We know we already have, who are in Gaza, we already have 1,000 dead, a total siege of Gaza, hospitals being bombed, no fuel now to the power station there. I mean, Palestinians do work with generators in Gaza, so there'll be some generation of electricity, or electricity provided by generators. But, considering what it is that Israel faces as decision-making now, it has been clear for some time that there was a need for, I don't want to call it level-headedness, but experience. And this will be, demands from the outside, from the international community, from capitals around the world, particularly from Washington, demands that this war cabinet has the experience to make decisions at this time.